Hello guys, today we are starting with algebraic proportions. So let's go ahead and fill out our notes here. So for the steps to solve, step 1 is to cross multiply which means, and this is going to look like when it's a proportion, you have two fractions equal to one another. So A over B equals C over D, which means when I cross multiply, or what I affectionately call butterfly, when we multiply diagonally, that means we end up with A times D equals B times C. All right, step 2, distribute if necessary. And step 3, solve. And then our added step 4 is to check. And that one is up to you. All right, here we go. So let's get started. So for our first step here, we multiply diagonally, our butterfly. So that means I end up with 3x equals 24, because 3 times x equals 3x and 4 times 6 equals 24. And yes, you have to multiply diagonally. I know that you can do this a different way for this problem, but the purpose is to learn this process for when we have problems that look like number 4. Next step, we solve. There's no distributing here, so I don't have to worry about step 2. Step 3 is we solve 3 times x. So to cancel the 3 of that multiplication, I divide by 3, and we end up with x equals 8. And then to check, we can plug it back in. And that means I would have 4 over 3 equals 8 over 6. And we multiply diagonally. 8 times 3 is 24. 4 times 6 is 24. These are equal, so this is a true statement. So this is my correct answer. And number 2. Again, we multiply diagonally. So I'm butterflying. And I get 10 times 4, which is 40, equals 2 times all of this. Since it is all of that, that means we have to put it in parentheses. 2 open parentheses, n plus 5, close parentheses. And now we do our distributing. I'm going to take the 2 and multiply it to everything inside the parentheses. Bring the 40 down, so I have 40 equals 2 times n is 2n. 2 times 5 is 10. Again, people are still making the mistake of not multiplying it to the second term correctly. We've got to be careful with that. And now we solve. I want to get the n by itself, so I have to move what's farthest away. So I subtract 10 from both sides. This zeroes out, and I now have 30 equals 2n. Now I'm continuing to solve for n. It's 2 times n, so I divide by 2. And I get that 15 equals n. Next example. Now we're throwing in variables on both sides here. But again, we still multiply diagonally. Our butterfly. So I now have 2 times y, which gives me 2y equals 5 times all of that. So I have to do the parentheses, y minus 3, close parentheses. And now I distribute. Bring down the 2y, so I have 2y equals 5y. 5 times negative 3, so that's going to give me a negative 15. Add 15. Oh, no. I can't add 15 yet because that is not like terms. I want to get all the y's to the same side. So I can't move the 15. I need to move the 5y because I want to get the y's on one side, the constants on the other. So I subtract 5y from both sides. This zeroes out, and I'm left with negative 3y equals negative 15. It is common to just write 15 when it's a negative 15 here. So be careful with that mistake. It's possible to be able to be made. And now we divide by a negative 3, and we get that y equals 5. And moving right along, we're still multiplying diagonally, that butterfly method. So I'm doing, but I've got an expression as a numerator and a denominator here. So that means I'm going to have 2 sets of parentheses, 1 on each side. So I'm going to have 3 times all of that, the k plus 9. So I have 3 open parentheses, k plus 9, close parentheses equals. And now I'm multiplying 5 times all of this. So it's open parentheses, 2k minus 3, close parentheses. And now we distribute. Three times k, that's going to give me 3k plus 3 times 9, which is 27, equals 5 times 2k, which is 10k. 5 times negative 3 is a negative 15. And now we're moving. We got to decide which way do I want to put the k's, which way do I want to put the constants, the letters and the variables. I always like to put the letters on the left, so I'm going to subtract 10k from both sides. At the same time, so I'm moving the 10k over here. At the same time, if I want to, I can move the 27 over here by subtracting 27 from both sides. This zeroes out, this zeroes out. Sure, that's canceling there. Okay, and now I end up with negative 7k equals negative 42. I want to make sure my calculations are correct, so I went ahead and did it with the calculator. All right, now, if you want to do this in 2 separate steps, that's absolutely okay, but you can do them in 1 step if you would like. Now I divide by negative 7 to both sides, and I get that k equals 6. One more example that we're going to work. We're going to turn this over, page over, and go to number 7, just because it's a little bit in a different location, but we're really not going to work it any differently. All right, so I'm going to multiply diagonally, and I'm going to end up with 6 open parentheses, m minus 9 close parentheses equals, and now I'm doing 8 times m minus 8. And now we distribute, so I'm going to have 6m minus 6 times 9 is 54 equals 8 times m is 8m. 8 times negative 8 is a negative 64. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 8m from both sides because remember I want to get the variables on one side, the letters on the other. And then I'm going to add 54. So this zeroes out. I'm going to add 54 to both sides because now this zeroes out. And I'm going to have negative 2m equals negative 64 plus 54. It's going to be 10, negative 10. Negative 10. Divide by negative 2 to both sides. And I have m equals 5. Okay, your assignment is to finish the notes page and begin working on the classwork homework page. We'll see how you have to do all of that depending upon how class goes. Have a great day.